And just like that, Bruce Pearl, the greatest coach in the history of Auburn basketball, sources are reporting that he is retiring.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into a very special emergency edition of Locked On Auburn. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Bruce Pearl, several reports throwing it out there that Bruce Pearl is retiring from Auburn basketball, with the assumption that the next step will be his son, Stephen Pearl, will be Auburn's next head coach. Full transparency, this is something that I've heard for the last few months and was skeptical on if it would actually happen until a few weeks ago. He joined John Rothstein's show, and Rothstein asked him specifically about how much longer he had. And I think Bruce Pearl's answer to that question was him kind of soft launching the idea that this may not be for too much longer. Now, I think it was worded in a way where it wasn't going to be just weeks later. But talking to folks behind the scenes, I think this was something that was kind of discussed. I don't think the folks that are within the program are shocked that this happened. How much of this is tied to a potential Senate run and all of that, I'm not sure. But I think if you connect all the dots, I think it could be something. So I'm going to talk more about Pearl today than I am about Stephen, but we will get to that in a moment. Obviously, there's going to be differing opinions on all of this. Let's start things off with the facts. And the facts are Bruce Pearl changed this program. Bruce Pearl needed a second chance after, all the show cause stuff with Tennessee. And it took him a few years to get it going. But oh my goodness, no one has transformed a program more than what Bruce Pearl was able to do at Auburn. Multiple Final Fours. And he said, once again, in that interview with John Rothstein, he said he wanted to go out on top. And he's going out on top. I mean, the last game that he coached, assuming, all these reports are true, will be him coaching in a Final Four. Once again, we're talking about Auburn basketball here. Auburn basketball, him coaching in multiple Final Fours it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So he's going out on top of his game. I think there are a few questions here in regards to, is Stephen going to be permanently named head coach? Will there be an interim tag next to his title? And then how much of this was communicated to the players, specifically, I guess all of them, because Tahad Pettiford is the only guy that's returning, and you had to have thought that this came up when he was deciding if he should test the draft waters and if he should stay in the NBA draft or not. And my gut is surely that had to have come up, because then, if this was the plan to let Stephen be the next guy, surely there wouldn't be that'd be a tough locker room for him to come into. So surely he's talked to all these transfer portal additions and these recruits as far as, what's going to happen with all that. So, I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And I saw this, I kind of thought that this was coming. This is something that Daryl and I've talked about a lot behind the scenes, but the news actually hitting, it's a weird feeling. I mean, the greatest era in the history of college basketball. What a run. What a run. How much of this is impacted by, timing? What else does he want to do, I guess? And then the other thing is, we've seen the transfer portal, this new era of college athletics, wear down coaches. How much of it is that? I don't know. But incredible stuff. Incredibly large, impactful stuff there. Live chat, let me know your thoughts on this. And if you're watching this after the fact, please comment down below. I think there's going to be differing opinions on this. I think there's going to be differing opinions throughout the fan base. There's a side that I'm on. There's a side that I'm on in regards to, okay, Bruce Pearl can do no wrong. Let him do whatever he wants at the timing that he wants. And great. The Pearl family deserves it. There's the other side of this where it's like, okay, you could have given us much more of a heads up, and, you could have gotten your pick of several elite coaches. So like, does Steven deserve like the permanent tag? I think is a question worth asking. I'd give it to him. But the other side of the argument is a very good one. It's a very good one as far as, is he worthy of having a top 15? I'll be aggressive and say top 10. I mean, Auburn's been to 2 Final Fours in the last 6 years. Like, that's a big deal. And so to me, I get the argument of, well, hold on, you're hiring somebody to a top 10, top 15 job in all of college basketball that has no head coaching experience. I'm going to bring in Isaac Shade. He's the host of Locked On College Basketball. I texted you this, 3 or 4 days ago?
You did, Zach. You said, be on the lookout. Bruce Pearl is going to announce it. And honestly, after all the news last week of like, hey, he's not going to run for Senate, that's off the table, I thought it was like, okay, maybe he gives it one more go. ZB, this is crazy news on a Monday. We are 6 weeks to the day from the start of the regular season. I'm freaking out.
Your thoughts on the balancing? There's two sides to this. There's going to be the side, and admittedly, I'm on this side, the first side I'm about to mention. One side is Bruce Pearl deserves it. If he wants his son to be the next head coach, and he's been a huge part of all of these runs, great. There's the other side of it where I would like your opinion on, where Auburn is a much more appealing, much more attractive job now than it was when Bruce Pearl took it. I mean, he totally transformed the program. When you talk about a fan base that is rabid, a home court advantage that is second to none in college basketball over the last half decade, you can make the argument, and this sounds a little weird to say it out loud, but you can make the argument that right now, this Auburn basketball job is a top 10 job in college basketball. If you want to scoot it out to 15, I'm not going to push back on it.
Sure.
It's a top tier job, though.
100%.
2 Final Fours in the last 6 years. That's a big deal. Where are you with this? As far as like the balancing of, okay, Bruce Pearl, you deserve whatever you want because of what you did to this program, and you made the program great.
Yeah.
But also, like, the program is great, and Steven's unproven, though he was a big part of everything that Auburn's done over the last 5 to 6 years.
Clearly, both sides of that have to be considered. Let me zoom out and take the bigger picture from all of college basketball. This is not the only place where we're seeing this. Kellen Sampson is the heir apparent to the Houston throne right now under Kelvin. We've seen other coaches not do this necessarily with sons, but with long-term assistants. Tony Bennett did the same thing at Virginia last year, even closer to the start of the season than we are today, Zach, and handpick one of his assistants. And so we've seen coaches, if I'm going to use the word hamstring, I don't know if I feel that strongly, but kind of hamstring their athletic director and saying, look, we're so close. I don't know what you want me to do here. Right. And so it's got to be Steven. I think it does make a ton of sense, right? Like, in a world where maybe Bruce was announcing now, like what Coach K did. Hey, I'm going to announce that after this year, I'm stepping away. In the meantime, we have had conversations behind the scenes in the athletics department, and Steven is going to be coach and waiting alongside me all season, and then we'll take over next spring. Cool. That's an easy sell for everyone if that's the play. If there was an open coaching search, kind of going to the other side, I think Steven would certainly be in the conversation of that because he's been along for the ride every step of the way. He grew up in the man's house. He knows him. He's his son, right?
Right.
But because of what you just said, Zach, 100%. Auburn right now, because of SEC money, because of how good the team is. It's funny, we could say this actually about both SEC schools in the state of Alabama. This is a top-tier coaching job. Top 10, top 15, whatever you want to call it, same. I'm not going to push back on any of that, and I think that is a valid thing. Certainly, I think it would still be beneath the traditional blue bloods of college basketball, Kansas, Kentucky, Carolina, Duke. I wouldn't put Auburn in that tier, but dude, it ain't far behind. That's what I think is important to recognize. Sure. That said, you can go out and offer anybody you want. Is it Mark Few? You roll down to Tuscaloosa and back a truck up to Nate Oates. How funny would that be?
I don't think Auburn fans would like that.
No, I don't think anybody would like that very much. But what I'm saying is you can. Auburn can, and it's not a crazy thing to think. Now, here's what's interesting about that, Zach.
Okay.
We've seen a coaching transition recently at Villanova, owners of two of the most recent national championships at Duke, at North Carolina, and other high at Syracuse. Good grief. Those schools, even Kentucky, I was like, there's a massive one I'm forgetting, haven't been able to get the massive names, right? Kentucky had to settle for Mark Pope, who now it looks like wasn't a settle, right?
Right.
But they weren't able to go out and say, come on,
no, they
Scott
called
Drew.
like 3 or 4 people.
Supposedly.
Exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
And so in this era where there's money to be had wherever, coaches are less like, oh, I got to go to one of the big boys. And so what's funny now is that might apply to Auburn. While I think Auburn certainly can go out and anybody is on a legit candidate, they might not be as movable now as they used to be. And also because of so many stepping away because of the portal and NIL and now house settlement, I don't think as many people are going to be as like, yeah, let me jump in on that. And so I think that makes Stephen all the more attractive. And yes, to your point, Bruce Pearl has earned the right to do whatever the crap he wants to do, whenever the crap he wants to do it, and walk away and be a legend in Auburn for the rest of his life.
Yeah, no, build a statue. Go ahead and start building the statue right now. I've got 2 questions for you. If you got us, if you don't mind, I'm gonna take a quick break. And then I've got 2 questions, one on transfer portal, and then one specifically on the timing and Stephen Pearl. That's all coming up right here on this emergency edition of Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Square. Square is a huge part of several neighborhood businesses. We all know there are certain businesses throughout the neighborhood, throughout our local communities that help bring all of us together. And Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets. It doesn't matter if it's for college football, college basketball, be here for you know it, as we are talking about this happening so close to the season. And of course, Auburn returns home after this road trip this weekend. They take on Georgia. It's going to be electric. Go ahead and get your ticket with Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Isaac Shade, host of Locked On College Basketball, joining me, just dropped everything to come hang out. It's that big of a story. This is a big deal, and this is Auburn basketball that we're talking about. Let me ask a logistics question that you may or may not know the answer to.
Yeah.
This is all just kind of happening suddenly.
Sure.
Does the portal open now for Auburn players, but could they leave due to the nature of like being students and the semester is already started? Like, I know it's open,
right?
But could they transfer and still play somewhere else this year?
It's a great question, Zach. Yes, as you said, definitely there is a 30-day window triggered anytime this happens, in season, out of season, whenever. That's a reality. The truth is, in terms of leaving Auburn, obviously you can do that whenever you want to. You can withdraw from any school at any time in your life. The question is going to be other schools, and it's case-by-case basis based on, I know some of like the Northeast schools don't start school till like September or whatever it is, right? And so it's honestly, the weird thing is it's going to come down to the admissions departments at various schools.
Yep.
There could be a situation where maybe you go ahead and enter the transfer portal and you can't technically enroll at Iowa State right now, but you could in the spring, and then you could play all the Big 12 play or something.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean?
Got
And
it.
so that is a potential. And we see that in college basketball actually pretty regularly where, it's different, obviously, in college football where your season's done aside from a bowl game in the fall semester. We see this decently regularly in basketball where maybe a player was academically ineligible in the fall, but can still be a critical part of the team for the conference slate and the entire postseason. That seems to me like I need to wrap my brain around it a little more, but that's my gut reaction is, hey, we could have you for all, you need a guard and Tahad Pettiford wants out. Okay, here we go. We got our lead guy. Now, I don't think, obviously it's too soon to know if anybody's actually going to do it, right? I would feel like it's probably more of a circle the wagons moment, as you were saying before I came on. Surely because of the nature of this, they've been having behind the scenes
no way they're caught off guard, right?
Yes, 100%. And I would
especially
say,
if the plan truly was to wait till we're close to the season so I can step away and then put Steven in a spot to be the guy.
Yep.
I mean, talk about putting him in a bad situation if the players weren't prepped for all of this.
That would be malfeasance of coaching. Bruce Pearl is too smart and too savvy of not only a coach, but a man, too savvy in terms of navigating administration and the athletics department to have fumbled the ball in this way. If that was the case, right? And so I think my gut reaction, everyone was in on it. The whole team knew, everyone knows we're going to circle the wagons. We're going to rally around Steven, and that's going to be the play. Now, we've seen that go well. We've seen that Virginia has a brand new coach this year. That did not go well last year in Charlottesville. We saw Rodney Terry hop in midseason after Chris Beard was fired at Texas. And he, because of their performance that year, kind of forced the administration to hire him as the full-time coach. And then it went downhill pretty quick. And now he ain't there no more. And Sean Miller is. So this could go a multitude of ways, Zach, but he's been training for this his whole life under his dad. Whether, at all the various stops along the way, including another SEC school in Tennessee, the moment's not going to be too big for him, but we just got to see how he does with his dad's roster, which he's been part of building, obviously, as an assistant coach, and then how he could do beyond. So I'm very curious to see what the athletics department comes out and says about this.
Yeah. So let's discuss what it looks like and what many people are assuming and kind of what I've heard over the last few weeks. Not reporting it. I'm just saying what it looks like. And it looks like Bruce Pearl wanted Steven to be named coach in waiting. It didn't happen. You wait till close to the season, and then you choose to step away. And it may happen to align with timing wise with other stuff that he may want to do outside of coaching. That's what it looks like to me. Do you think that's likely? And then do you think that that's an okay thing that Bruce Pearl might be doing if that's the case? Because, I mean, Auburn basketball is where it is right now because of Bruce Pearl.
Yeah.
It's a loaded question.
It is. And so let me clarify and be more specific. Are you saying if Bruce Pearl is stepping away, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
If Bruce Pearl, I'm getting choked up, Zach. It's such an emotional.
Me too. I'm trying to put on a brave face right now.
Auburn was just the best team in the nation for much of this is crazy. Okay.
It is crazy.
If Bruce Pearl is stepping away to pursue like political pursuits, is this the right way to do it? Is that more specifically what you're saying?
Like the timing of it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. In an ideal world, no, it's not the ideal way to do it. I think like this time last year when Tony Bennett did this to Virginia, I said that because with Tony Bennett, and this is the difference though, Zach, with Tony Bennett, it was like he went away for the weekend. Him and his wife had conversations and he came back and he was like, I'm done. That's not this, right? We've known about this. There's been speculation about it. And so from that regard, it's not as, whoa, but still in terms of timing, it's not to me the appropriate way to do it. Even if your entire administration, your entire athletic department, your whole coaching staff, and all your players knew about it, even still, it's just not the best look. And I know that's just optics, but still, like going one more season or having done it back in April. And I guess where I would push back on myself a little bit is, yeah, but if you didn't know until now, what do you want the man to do? You know, miserably lead for another season while he's wishing he was out? What's better, 70% of Bruce Pearl or 100% of Stephen Pearl? Maybe that's a question to ask.
I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
Stephen Pearl's never been a head coach before.
Exactly.
How often, like, zoom out, put your national college basketball expert hat on, which you already have on, covering up part of that beautiful hair of yours. How often is a top 15-ish job, an elite job, do they give it to someone who's a riser and has no head coaching experience?
Before the portal era, almost never. In the portal era, often. Let's go through some of those ones that have happened recently.
Please.
Kentucky, Mark Pope is hired from BYU, where he did very well. But as we said earlier, he was not first, second, third, or probably fourth for that job.
Where was he before BYU?
He was it Utah Valley? It was not a high major.
Okay. So if it's something like that, like maybe that's a little similar. Like,
yes.
What's more impressive, like a coach in Utah Valley or like the number 2 guy at a Final Four team? Like,
yep,
what's
he was okay? That's right. So Utah Valley from 2015 to 19, BYU 19 to 24. So he had a lot more experience. But here's a couple examples of people that didn't. Let's go to some other blue bloods.
Yeah,
where Mike Krzyzewski did what I said earlier, kind of what I wish Bruce had done here. Is he came out and said, next season's going to be my last.
Yeah.
John Shire is going to walk alongside me the entire way. Another person who has 0 head coaching experience, but he got to walk hand in hand for a year knowing he was the coach in waiting. Let's go to their rivals, North Carolina, where Roy Williams retires hilariously on April Fool's Day after the 2021 season. Hubert Davis, who his only head coaching experience was coaching North Carolina's JV team, was thrust into that role. At Villanova, Jay Wright steps away, having won the 16 and 18 national championships. Kyle Neptune comes in, not having much of any experience of his own. Other examples like that. So in this era, there's much less, we're going to go out and get a dude, right? Like going back to Roy Williams, for example, one of the wildly most successful coaches in college basketball history at Kansas. He's going from Kansas to Carolina. Mike Krzyzewski came from Army, where it was fine, right? And things of that nature. And so it actually, what you asked me is actually becoming more regular in this day and age because coaches aren't wanting to move at the same level because you can win anywhere now if you got the money and you can figure out NIL and now how to navigate house settlement and all of that.
Yeah.
You can win anywhere, Zach. And so guys aren't as movable now. You don't have to ascend to blue blood status to be the man.
With NIL and stuff, like I think it matters less because like you still got to recruit, which I don't think recruiting is the part of Steven that I'm worried about. I don't know if I'm worried about any aspect of it, but like that's the lowest concern. He knows how to get guys to commit to Auburn. But the financial aspect of it, was Bruce Pearl good at potentially raising funds and the organization of boosters and all of that? Like, yeah. But you're telling me Steven wasn't involved with that?
Yeah.
You're telling me Steven doesn't talk to those folks as far as, influencing name, image, and likeness and all of that? Like, I think they're probably fine in that regard. But you do have to run a program.
Yeah.
Steven has been pretty accessible to media over the last several years. Maybe that was by design. I'm sure it was somewhat intentional. So like it's not like he's not used to speaking publicly on behalf of Auburn basketball. It's just his dad was just the greatest coach to ever coach here.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, and it's a vastly like I literally right before this got off an interview with Coach Jared Haas, who was an assistant under Roy Williams forever at Kansas, Carolina, then went to be the head guy at UAB and the head guy at Stanford. And what he literally just said to me is what Stephen Pearl is going to have to experience. He said it was so weird when it was time to call a timeout and I had to look around. It's like, oh, I'm the guy that does that now. When Stephen Pearl does that for the first time, it's not going to be some random game. It's going to be Ballin and Boutwell against Oklahoma State. It's going to be the exhibition against Memphis down in Atlanta. Is that right? Do I remember that correctly, Zach? Is the other exhibition? Right. And then Bethune-Cookman, Monday, November 3rd, 6 weeks from today, comes down to Auburn to Neville Arena. And Stephen looks around and he's like, oh, I'm the one that gets to stand up now. I'm the one that's got to call the timeout.
Yeah. Stephen has been a head coach for one game, technically, because Bruce, I think, got suspended for 2 games and he coached one. And then
that's a good point.
Maybe it was Ira Bowman that coached the other. But so he is 1-0. He's undefeated.
That's a great point.
He is undefeated.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious to see what happens with this portal situation. That is
that's
my largest concern right
and
now.
They need to be already having a team meeting to recircle the wagons if that hasn't already happened.
Surely, if it hasn't happened, I think that's a problem. Right?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. One last question for you. Thank you for hopping on. Everybody give Isaac some love. Go subscribe to Locked On College Basketball on YouTube and audio. As far as like Auburn's roster, do you think it's built for a first year head coach? Everyone's new. So it's not like they're like used to being coached by Bruce. Tahad is the only returner from a year ago.
Yeah.
And he's going to be asked to play a different role than he did
a
year ago. You know, he's not coming off the bench anymore. What I don't know what's your opinion on like the roster being ready for a first year head coach.
What's funny is it would have been more ideal to do this last year from that standpoint, because you got guys with the experience. You've got Janai to lead the way. Tahad doesn't have to be the guy yet. He just gets to be a bit part. That's easier for a first-year coach because the players can lead the way in a lot of ways. And so I would have rather seen that than a team that's going to need a coach a little bit more, if that makes sense, right?
Sure.
I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying it's easier if the team can kind of, well, I'll say lead itself. And it would be one thing if you had an assistant with vast experience as a head coach on the bench. That's not Ira Bowman. Corey Williams was head coach at Stetson 6 years. Similar to Stephen, he had one game as Texas Tech's head coach. So I think you lean on him a little bit and say, all right, coach, help me here. Right. And I think that means Corey Williams has to humble himself a little bit and help lead the way.
Yeah.
If I'm Stephen, I'm talking to my dad a lot. I'm talking to other coaches still in the game and say, just help me navigate this, right? What are the things I'm not thinking of or expecting? All of that, man. It's a whole world.
And like, what do you think the right amount of Pearl's involvement is? Some of this might depend on what he's doing outside of basketball, if he's truly retiring or if he's pursuing other ventures. But like, I kind of always just envision Bruce Pearl always being around Auburn basketball, whether he's coaching or not. There are variables in this.
Yep.
But what's the balance of I need to let Stephen run his program now versus like I've been the face of Auburn basketball and will be, synonymous with Auburn basketball for the rest of my life?
It depends on how much running they did together before this. How much father-son conversation had they had about, I'm definitely going to step away this offseason. And so a lot of last year was more intentionally than he otherwise would have training his son to be a head coach.
Yeah.
because how much he relies on him now, as you said, depends on Bruce's time. It depends on, did he make things awkward and untenable with the athletics department by what he did? And if so, he probably shouldn't be around too much, because ideally you not only have someone you can text or call or FaceTime, but somebody that could maybe be in the gym with you.
Mm-hmm.
If time and bridges not burned allow, then maybe coach could be in the gym sometimes. But that, right? Like, it's like when let me give an analogy that's popping into my head, and I hope this makes sense.
Okay.
Zach, let's say my wife Maggie and I had been dating and we broke up. She and I could not be friends for a long time. We would need an actual period of separation before we could have a platonic friendship relationship again, assuming that was capable for us as adults. I would need to separate myself from a preordained amount of time before reinserting myself so that things weren't the same as they previously were.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. I think it makes sense where Bruce of the Pearls almost needs to step away for Steven to be able to be the man. Because if Bruce Pearl's around, he's the head coach of this team, whether he's the head coach of this team or not.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think I agree with that. Isaac, tell people how they can check out everything you've got going on. Thank you so much for hopping on for a few.
Dude, absolute pleasure. Love me some Auburn basketball. Love me some Auburn in general. My most active social media is at Isaac Shade. 1 S, 2 A's. It's dumb. You're supposed to double something. It's the A's. Shade has a C in it. It's German. It means what a pity. I don't know, but you can follow me on Twitter. I'm most active there. Also, Locked On College Basketball every day. And if you want to get outside the SEC, I'm also the host of Locked On Tar Heels, where we're trying to figure out how much Bill Belichick's going to stick around. That's me. That's where I'm at.
That has not worked. That's Isaac Shade. Thank you so much, buddy. All right. Drop your comments, drop your takes. I'll respond to them as they come in as I can. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Wow. I still can't believe it. A world where we live where Bruce Pearl is not Auburn's head coach is insane. It's absolutely insane. So just kind of monitoring the chat throughout this entire thing, it kind of goes as I thought it would. I think there's going to be 2 sections of this. One of like, happy for you, Bruce. Glad you went out on top. Thank you for everything you did for Auburn. And the other side of it is like, what the heck? What the heck? Why did you put us in a situation where we have to be in this spot? So we'll see. All right, so let's Jeff says, Zach, I am hurt. Yes, I think a lot of people will be hurt from this, and that's okay, because a really fun part of Auburn history is over. It's over, and hopefully we can continue it and have 2 eras that are good back to back. But yeah, the Bruce Pearl era appears to be done. That's very sad. iCray says so much sadness right now, for sure. Your boy George says, what happens to Burgomaster and Ira? You think they stay? I mean, with this close to the season, like I can't imagine you're replacing an entire staff. I think they're just probably promoting Steven. If I had to guess, they may promote somebody who's off the court to on the court, or they may poach somebody from somewhere else. We'll see. But I would be shocked if they like moved a lot of pieces for the assistants. That'd be surprising. Jason says, Zach, am I wrong to be excited? I feel like this was planned. Jason, you can be excited. You can feel however you want. Sure. Yeah, be excited. It's a new era. It's new, but obviously Bruce was great. As far as it being planned, I heard about this a few months ago. Like, there was chatter around this. And if I'm hearing about it, like, I'm sure it was planned. I'm sure this was planned. I agree. I agree with that for sure. For sure. Let's see. Not going to tackle the political stuff, guys. Jonathan says Bruce is the man forever. I agree. All right. So a lot of the same stuff. Lack 5 asks, are you excited, Zach? What do you think? That's a great question, Lack. Am I excited? I mean, I'm excited for like the next step of things, but I mean, we all wanted Bruce Pearl to be here for forever because Bruce Pearl coaching at Auburn is a known value. This is a lot of unknown. So like I'm happy for Steven in the sense that he was a big part of Auburn basketball success over the last several years, and I think he deserves the opportunity. Am I excited that it's not Bruce Pearl? No. No, I'm not. Great question, Lack. Great question. Wes asking maybe the most important question that I don't have the answer to. How do you think the players are taking this? Will any of them leave? Tammy asking, will Tahad stay? Yeah, like those are the questions. And once again, like you got to assume if this was planned and calculated and Bruce wanted to put his son in situation to be Auburn's next head basketball coach, which I think that's what it looks like. I'm not saying it's what it is, but it's what it looks like. Bruce is savvy enough to know that he can't just do that and put his son in a situation to succeed right off the bat if the players aren't involved or at least aware of what the plan is. Now, how far back does that go? Is that part of the portal recruitment or the high school recruitment? Or did they learn a month ago? I don't know. Because like I'm here and I know the players are, and I know they're talking about it, and they've got a great relationship with these coaches. They're going to bring it up. So my guess is they knew. If they didn't know, it's bad. It could be bad. But my guess is they knew to some extent. And you got to think, I mean, Tahad's family, specifically his father, is very savvy as far as, you know, helping and supporting Tahad. And he seems like a guy who would ask the right questions. And when he's contemplating with his son about should he stay in the draft or not, surely they talked about this. Surely. If not, I think that's, pretty like objectively wrong if they didn't talk about it. And I think we'll see. Here we go. 9-time champion. Zach, I talked with an assistant coach 2 months ago. This has been talked about. The entire staff will be retained. Yeah, that checks out. That checks out. Good note there. Does the portal open for the players or how does that work? Yes, the portal opens. Obviously, there's some academic issues. You can't leave in the middle of a semester to like enroll. Now, some places have later enrollment than others, so that could certainly be a part of it. The portal is open. Could you leave and then transfer somewhere else and play in the spring? My understanding is yes. So we'll see. There's some people talking in the chat about me working at Publix. I do not work at Publix. I like Publix. Don't work there. All right. So yeah, everybody get behind Steven Pearl. It's going to be a big few weeks. So there was supposed to be a press conference, a Hugh Freeze and Jackson Coyven press conference this afternoon. My understanding, based on these texts that I'm getting, I'm trying to do like 7 things at once. It looks like it got scooted back an hour. I don't know if the plan is for Bruce to be there or for Steven to be there or for John Cohen to be there, but stay tuned for that. I don't know if I'll go live this afternoon in response to that or not. We'll see. Definitely be on tomorrow's show. So please make sure you're subscribed on YouTube or on audio. Thank you guys so much for dropping what you're doing to hop in and hang out with us for 40 minutes on a Monday afternoon. Wild stuff. Whew. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.